Hi guys. Well, we are on our last week of school/seesaw. So at this time of the year, we would normally reflect and look back over the year that we've just lived through. So your first class year, what was it like? What memories do you have of your first class year? So even though we weren't in school for term 3, we were in school for term 1 and term 2, and we did loads of activities online with Seesaw. So you can think of all those things and try and remember them all and think which ones were your favorites, which ones did you enjoy the most. So even if you're thinking about it in September, you might remember your first day of school, meeting new teachers. So it was new to meet myself and Brian. You guys knew Jenny already, so at least that was one thing. What did you find different about first class? Maybe the Halloween parties that you had with myself and Brian, some of the different games that we played, and then coming up to Christmas, our Christmas assemblies, and then after Christmas coming back in January and all the different things we were doing then. So have a little think about the year, and when you've thought about it, you can fill out this worksheet. And I have started my one already, okay? But I'm just doing it as some of it has a pretend one. So at the top it says, my year at a glance. So looking back. One positive thing about my teacher is Rachel is amazing. Okay, so you need to think of one positive thing to say about myself, or if Brian's your teacher, think about something positive about Brian that you could write down to make him feel happy and warm inside. Then, one thing I learned this year was, so think back over all the different things we have learned this year. So it could be in maths, it could be adding tens and units, it could be in English where you learned loads about when we started PALS and when we did our reading strategy, so predicting and connecting, or in writing, we talked about procedures and reports. We also learned loads of grammar, so alphabetical order, adjectives, nouns. I hope we remember still what they are, verbs, all those really important things. So we learned loads in English, as well as talking about plop and the owl who was afraid of the dark. Or you could think about anything in history, geography, or science that you remember, or in art. So one thing that I learned this year that stuck with me was that astronauts are strapped in when they go to sleep. And it's just one fact that's just stayed in my head and that I didn't really know before. So that's what I wrote down for one thing I learned this year. Then you can draw a picture of yourself. That's me in there. One skill I got stronger at. So, for example, you could say reading without pausing. You could say maybe you got better at saying some Irish words. Maybe you've got better at counting up bigger numbers. So lots of different things you could put in there. Then here it says, one thing I would like to improve for next year is, and I've given an example of my handwriting, my listening skills. So maybe I've become a better listener. Down at the bottom, it says, I learned that friendships. Now, can you think about something with friendships? This is my example. So I learned that friendships can change, but in our class, we are all friends and look out for each other. So I learned that friendships are the best. They make me feel really happy. I learned that friendships are not always about having a best friend, but about having lots of different friends. Then, when you get that one done, in these two bubbly things here, I would like you to draw two things that remind you of first class. So is there any two things that remind you of first class? I know in my classroom, I probably would draw Captain Corn because I remember when the girls and boys were deciding on the table names and they came up with Captain Corn themselves and we had to draw a picture. So I would definitely put in Captain Corn in there. And then I might draw in the Grinch because I remember our Christmas show and doing the Grinch for our Christmas show, which was lots and lots of fun. And then over here, I want you to think the best thing about first class was. So for you, what was the best thing about first class? And my best thing was getting to meet all of you at the beginning of the year because you make me smile every day. So a very big thank you. And I love that I know all you guys. Then over here, the last little bubble is my favorite first class memory was. So a memory, think of one thing that you enjoyed about first class. And I wrote down, Watching you all perform our assembly on feelings, I loved it. You were brilliant. Now, that assembly has stuck in my head because of the thinking cloud and the little musical tune we played when the thinking cloud came along. And my class, I felt you did a super job with all your acting and reading. And we only had 3 days to do it. So that's why it stuck in my head that you were so, so good with such a short amount of time. Brian's class, it could be your assembly too. I'd say he'd pick that because you guys were brilliant. All the news report, it was really, really interesting. So well done to you guys. Now, that's it, girls and boys. I want you to now click on the activity, give it a go yourselves, draw your pictures, and think about things that happened last year. I know we all had a kind of mixed up year having to leave the school halfway through, but I've still had a fantastic year, and I'm so glad that I get to teach you guys again in second class so that we can create new memories. Thank you very much, girls and boys. Bye.